Hey, Pat. Welcome to the Stellar Podcast.
Thanks for having me.
Good to have you.
Thanks.
Generally, what we do when we get started is just kind of allow you to introduce yourself and, what you do. And so it's all yours.
So I am in real estate, so it kind of has a ring to it. I say homes, discipleship, and solar. Those are the main three things that I spend the most of my time doing. But for the general audience, just real estate, both licensed in real estate and in solar.
Okay. All right. So you have your HIS, so you've been selling solar.
Correct.
How long have you been in real estate?
Real estate coming up on, officially speaking, about 9 years, but then I was doing transaction coordinator work for a really big name in town, so I've had a lot more experience than a lot of the licensees even coming into it. Okay. And so my experience selling real estate, so to speak, has been a decade or so. Okay.
And then how about in solar?
In solar, I think I'm coming up on, a year and 2 months maybe?
Okay.
Something like that, yeah.
Okay. And so how do you see those two things working together? Man. Or do they?
Oh, absolutely. I think more so, I kick myself now because I wondered why I didn't jump into it sooner. And I guess it was just maybe because just the phase of life or phase of real estate that I was in, I was just so busy, perfecting my craft, so to speak. But now that I'm in solar and understand how it's really truly integrated, especially living in California where the Green Initiative is extremely at the forefront of, a lot of policies of,
correct,
political leaders. I truly, and this might, rub some people the wrong way, but I truly don't think you can fully, you can't give a homeowner who is wanting to sell their home, especially if they have solar, you can't give them the full scope of service that they deserve if you're not proficient in solar.
I can.
I know that was a lot of words. Sorry.
Yeah, no, but I get it. I get what you're saying.
Yeah.
As one of the owners here at Stellar Solar, right. I completely understand that.
Right.
And tell me if I'm wrong, but I have sat with many real estate companies,
right?
And every time I sit in there, they think all the agents think they understand solar, only to find out that they don't understand it as well. So, what are some of the things that you see in being in both sides of the house, so to say, on the roof as well as the home itself, right? Yeah. Where do you think some of those confusions come in, and how can we in the solar industry help the other side of your business?
Sure. No, that's a great question. I mean, I can really only speak for myself, but I guess I'll start off with saying you don't know what you don't know, right? Okay. And, especially when you get into the real estate space, you have to be a very unique person to even be, obviously solar is also a self-employed position as well, but you kind of have to have a chip on your shoulder where you are very bold and courageous in a lot of different regards. And so my guess is if you've been in the business 10, 20 years, it's hard to have that humility in saying there is something I don't know.
Okay.
And I think that is the first step. But speaking from firsthand, I realize how fast solar changes. Extremely fast. Almost on a week to, if not month to month basis, it's a week to week change and a tweak here and a tweak there. That's why being part of a team and being part of your team, giving us updates, who are constantly at the forefront of, hey, here's the latest news and latest updates. If it wasn't for you guys, there's no way that I can keep, up with all those updates that are so important.
And the funny thing is we got one today, right? That takes effect tomorrow.
Huge change
on how we do business.
Absolutely.
Right.
So to answer your question, I don't think you can do, like I said, not many people want to admit that they don't know. And some people think, oh, yeah, I have solar on my house. I know everything. No, things have changed drastically even within the past year, let alone 5 years.
Okay.
So
would you say that even some brokers may not have a good understanding, even though so many of the homes here in California that are being sold either have it already or, they're trying to figure out how to maneuver that?
No doubt. I mean, sure, they can listen to YouTube podcasts or whatever it is and think they know, but unless you're in I guess.
So are you saying if they listen to our podcast, they're not going to know?
Maybe not. Maybe this one, they might know a lot more than the general public. But getting your hands dirty, doing the day-to-day solar, proposals and walking through contracts and how it affects, what do you call it, UCC 1 filings or whatnot, right? I don't think that you're going to be able to give them the full scope of knowledge that is required to understand it.
Yeah. And back to your point, I mean, even with solar, you say it changes regularly or quite often, right?
Makes your head
State
spin.
mandates and what have you, right?
Oh, yeah.
Our three main utility providers change the rules constantly, which a lot of times affects those new solar clients coming into being either owners or getting a PPA or just going solar, right?
Right.
So there's been some changes even on the real estate side just recently.
Yeah.
So how is that changing that side of the industry for you as being able to do both?
So I'll answer it like this. Now, with the lawsuits, the multi-billion-dollar settlement, it wasn't an actual judgment where it was a winner, a clear win or lose. It was a settlement that kind of passed, but it did affect how real estate is done nationally. Okay, so now, especially from a buyer's agent standpoint, you're not guaranteed the seller cooperating, paying the commission, and now you need to be able to represent your value that much more, so that before you go out and show your buyer a home or multiple homes, you have to have a contract agreement with them saying, hey, here's what protects me from working for free. And so now there are ways that you can, circumvent that and be able to get the sellers to cooperate with the commission or help with it at least. But now more than ever, I feel like if you're going to represent a client in real estate and help them purchase an investment as large as a mortgage or a home, you better earn that commission that you're about to get paid.
Right.
And if you're going to charge your client 2.5-3% like I do, if you can't sufficiently explain to them, hey, this house is amazing, but they had a really bad system on their house, and here are the reasons why, I think you're doing your client a disservice. And so if you're a real estate professional out there and you're not getting this type of information, I think you're shorthanding your client.
Well, I love that answer, not because I'm happy on any changes on how things are going, but those are things that you and I can't control, correct?
Correct.
It's similar to what happened in our industry in April of 2023 when UCC, with the Utility Commission, when the Utility Commission changed the rules from what we call NEM2, Net Energy Metering 2.0, to NEM3, right? And all that was a change in credits when we export back to the grid.
Correct.
Right?
Yep.
But a professional, and there's a lot of people who left the industry when that happened because the professional has to be able to give value and show the value even under the new rules and guidelines.
Right.
But you have to be trained properly.
Correct.
You have to know the ins and outs. You have to be a professional. This is no longer an industry where for kids to come in for the summer, they might door knock, but they're not going to sell you the system.
No.
There's too much to know.
Right.
And so do you see the correlation between what you've had to endure with some of these new rules in real estate and what we're enduring in solar?
100%. So a lot of the veterans in real estate, so let me be clear, there was a lot of real estate agents that did either walk away or pull back tremendously from their real estate business because of the big changes that came up.
Sure.
But if you talk to the veterans who actually are real estate is real estate is their actual bread and butter. If you talk to those veteran agents, they'll tell you they're actually happy with the changes that happen because it kind of weeds out the ones who are really just there, just there just to make some extra money over the summer, or they're doing it on the side or what have you. And so much like in solar, the people who left from with the changes from NEM2 to NEM3, I think they're just making the quality of solar experts that much better.
Right.
And so again, in solar, I don't think you're just selling a product. I think you're selling a service.
Correct.
And if you're going to sell a service or a product, you better be, giving your clients the absolute best and due diligence that they deserve.
Yeah, no, I love that. And I can understand why for you joining the two together makes so much sense.
Oh, yeah.
And especially when I think about value, right?
Mm-hmm.
If we're going to add value, and where we as Stellar Solar, kind of why you ended up joining with us, if I can say that, is that we're all about our customer experience.
100%.
Everybody says that,
but
not everybody does it, right? Just like what you just stated, so many people left that industry of real estate. We've seen a number of companies go out of business, whether they're installers or whether they're dealers like us, a sales organization, go out of business when NEM3 hit, and there were some tough times. And it left a lot of customers in a bad spot, right? We pride ourselves in that even for those customers that are our customers, we've taken care of them. We don't have a legal obligation to do so, but we did it, right? So for you, why, I didn't mean to speak for you, but why was it that you joined Stellar as opposed to any other company out there?
So initially, I remember several years back, because solar over time got more and more popular.
Sure.
So the transactions that I was doing, or the homes that I was selling, they had questions about solar, like my clients did. And because I wasn't a solar expert, I had to reach out to another solar expert that I may have known, or maybe I just called up their number because they were in the office next to me or whatever it was. But a lot of the time, solar experts don't really want to talk to you unless it's for a sale.
Right.
And so I really felt like that I was obstructing on their time, or I was bothering them. And so I kind of got tired of doing that over the course of several years. And I said, why don't I just get licensed, do my homework? Sure, it's going to cost me some money or whatever
and
it
time.
is. Time, right? Time as well. But I think, again, coming back to the word value, I think that's ultimately what it came down to.
Awesome. You mentioned something, you threw out a term earlier that a lot of people don't understand, and that's a UCC1 filing.
Yes.
UCC1 filing, can you tell us a little bit of what that is?
Sure.
And from both perspectives, let's start with the real estate side. When you are selling a home, or you have a client who wants to buy a home, and how does that, where does that show up?
So to keep it super simple, and I learned this from you, so a UCC1, just think of it as a pink slip.
Okay.
So just like how your car has a pink slip, if you can't make payments on your car for whatever reason, the bank can't come and take your house. They can only take the car.
Okay.
So in being in real estate, I can totally understand the logic behind why people can get a little bit afraid with the UCC1, because in a transaction, if there is a fixture, something that is bolted or tied permanently onto the structure of the home or the foundation itself, it technically comes with the home or the sale of the home, right? And so I can understand how someone says, hey, wait a minute, these solar panels are fixed to the roof of my home. And so if something happens or I can't make payments on the solar panels, then it might affect the ownership that I have on the home. That's not it at all. So I just want to be able to clear that up for anyone who is listening, that a UCC1 filing, you can have peace of mind and say, for whatever reason you can't make payments on your solar system, the bank can't take your home. It doesn't affect your ownership of your home. They can only take the panels, the product that the UCC1 is connected to. So I just wanted to clear that up. And a lot of brokers don't know that. A lot of real estate agents don't know that. So
does it show up when you do the title search and you get all the background on the home? Does it show up like it's a lien?
It can seem like that, but when you pull up it's what's called the preliminary report, where all the liens that may be attached to the home, it will show up on there. But as long as you understand that that's not a lien where it affects the ownership of the home, that's what's important. So it'll show up, but it's, again, a pink slip. Just take away pink slip if you don't remember anything else.
Okay. And so how about on the solar side, when we sell and help a family save with their utility costs, whether it's a PPA
Sure.
or whether it's a purchase, when does a UCC1 filing actually show up?
Yeah, great question. So a UCC1 filing will always be attached to the solar system unless you buy it outright. Unless you're the full 100% owner of that solar system, you're going to have a UCC1 filing attached to it. And what that UCC1 filing does, it guarantees whoever the lender is of that solar system that product came from, it guarantees them their payment or their money back. So it gives them security of saying, hey, I have confidence in putting the solar panel or giving the solar panel system, to this homeowner, and I can expect payment back and that I won't lose out on it.
So that's their guarantor,
correct,
or for lack of a better term. So again, a lot of times when we sit in consultations, a customer, potential client will ask, is there going to be a lien on my house? Because that scares them, right? That's a question that we frequently get, and again, I don't think that the understanding of a UCC1, and that's what separates the professional sales representative over other representatives, is that they do understand
Correct.
that. So when, again, just for giggles and make sure that we're all understood, when we get that, or when you get that sitting across the kitchen table from somebody, how do you explain it to the purchaser?
Yeah, so kind of like what we just went over. I think that the UCC1 is a pink slip. It needs to make sense for whoever is giving you that system. So it's going to be their guarantee that you're not just going to dip out on the payments.
Okay.
And so I would just reassure them, hey, this is just a way for the solar company to make sure that their investment is going to make good, right? Because they're not doing this for free. They're not doing this out of the goodness of their own heart. But I would reassure them that this is not a lien where it can affect the ownership of your own home. So I would just continue to reiterate that and let them know, hey, the UCC1 filing is a pink slip that's attached to the solar panels, and if you can't make the payments for whatever reason, you can lose out on the solar panels, but you will still have your home. And hopefully you're still making payments on your home, but that's a whole nother discussion.
So what other things do you think that real estate brokers and agents don't quite understand about solar?
I mean, let's talk about new construction for a little
Okay.
bit, because I've
right.
been helping out some clients who did purchase new construction, and I know for almost, I'll say, let's keep it conservative, 75% certainty that anyone who purchases a new construction will end up needing a second system.
Okay.
And when I have done these proposals and kind of reviewed the systems that they've had on their on their roof, I realized that the solar panels that are like 30% of what they actually need, they just slap it on just to be able to jump through the loophole for the California mandate.
Okay.
They're positioned so inefficiently that it kind of screws them when they want to add more panels.
Okay.
And so for a real estate professional who doesn't understand, which direction solar panels are most efficiently placed, how they're going to even use that as a contention, how are they going to raise that red flag with the solar company or the installer during that conversation? And a lot of the times, people go to new construction or new builders and they sign on with them without an agent. And how are they supposed to know? They're not a professional. They're just trying to buy a home for their family, and they have enough on their plate.
Right.
And so I think it's that much more crucial for professionals to be able to step in that gap and represent the best interest for clients.
Yeah.
In that way.
Yeah. No. And so a lot of times with these tract homes, not necessarily custom built homes, because
Correct.
with a custom built home, for them to even push dirt and get a permit, they have to have a solar project in place, right? And that mandate came in, I believe, in 2020.
Right.
So that was a statewide thing. And so all new home construction, whether it's on a custom home or whether it's a track home, quote unquote track home, all have to have it now.
Correct.
But it's based on the square footage, not on the size of the family and the usage, right?
Right.
And so you said, conservatively, you saying 75% of those homeowners will need a second system. Why would they need a second system? And why don't they just, if you even know, why don't they just add to the panels that are already there?
So I say with 75% certainty because there's really no way to know how much electricity you're going to need because you've never lived in it, right? If you have children, your family's growing, you can't anticipate, at least accurately, how much you're going to use. Sure, you can go on the law of averages and whatnot,
sure,
but chances are the builder is not focused on saving you money on your utility bill. They just want to hurry up and get that contract signed, get you in the house, and be done with it so that they can go back to the bank and say, hey, we finished this project. Can you please release some more money so I can start on the new site? That's really their focus. And so unless you have somebody who is has a vetted interest in just being able to serve you and client satisfaction, they're not going to put much thought into what kind of solar system that you need, and so I don't know if that answers your question.
Yeah, no, it does, and so from everything that I've seen, and I've done some new home builds as well, and helped clients through that. What I've seen is that based on, especially on the track homes, they just put them where it's convenient, and so what they don't realize is that when they put it on a lot, this model is going to have the panels here on this plane, but that same house can be built in different places facing different directions, and it's not always to the customer's advantage, right? They're not getting the most bang for their buck.
Correct.
Yeah, and that's where they end up in trouble.
Oh yeah, and it's so cookie cutter too. And something else to add is during those new builds, it's who the builder gets the best deal with. They're not necessarily looking for the best company, the best products, the best whatever it is. They're looking for, hey, who's going to help us service all these new homes the fastest and the cheapest so that they can save on their bottom line. Right. And that's what it comes down to. And to your point about homes being positioned in a certain way, something that I've kind of come across as I've done more of these projects and looked at more of these proposals is that you can think of the U.S. geographical map. Look it up, a thermal imaging map, just Google it, and you'll see where the darkest red is in the southern states. Then the shade gets slightly lighter, but it's still red on the western states. Then it goes to the east, then it goes to the north.
Right.
And so that's how you can understand how, if you're just go on Google Maps, hit satellite view, aerial view, and see how your home is positioned. And if you have a lot of roof space facing south, you're in a really good position.
Right.
And so forth.
No, I love it. And so again, the technical stuff that most people don't understand that we as professionals in the solar industry have to know, right? And we're trying to get the most bang for our customer's buck, right?
Right.
And trying to bring that complete value. And one of the things that I just want to touch on, and you can tell me your thoughts with the clients you've had already with us, with Stellar. You mentioned a word for the builders, cookie cutter. Do you come in with a cookie cutter for every client, or how do you decide what system to sell and how big, and how does that come about?
Sure. So I can rave about you guys all day, but a lot of the competitors, solar companies, even the nationally known names out there, often only offer one, maybe two different products. But here, you guys given us the freedom to be able to offer up to 3 or 4 to find out what's actually best for the client. And I think that's super crucial because, sure, it might be a little bit easier. I don't know where I heard it, but certain restaurants or certain food vendors, they shorten and minimize their menu, right? Just so that they can get things out the door quicker. That's why when you go to the baseball game or the basketball game, whatever it is, you really only have 5 options because you pick it, pay for it, and you go, right?
Same thing with In-N-Out, right? Unless you know their secret.
Correct.
Secret menu.
But that's the Lord's Burger, so that's a different story. But for if you're going to invest into something for anywhere between 15 to 25 years, I really truly think that your service professional, your solar expert, owes you the right, or owes you the respect and the due diligence to be able to say, hey, here are the options that you have. What's best for your family and why? And walk them through that before they make that decision.
Awesome. I love that. And again, how about when it comes to the design? Is that a cookie cutter design, or do you take certain factors into place, as you were talking about the thermal imaging of the United States? Right.
Yeah. So the designs also, some companies will use an automated system or something like that they use that they might outsource to someone else. But here we will go the extra mile. We'll take a look at the roof design and say, hey, there might be some mistakes here, mistakes there, and even the higher ups, they're vested in saying, hey, if you ever see, a design that was sent to you that you think can be improved, let us know. And you guys take time out of your day just to make those things as efficient as possible. And what we have is it's what's called the site survey. They actually go out, boots on the roof, as I call it, and they will verify if there's any way to make that more efficient. And if they possibly can, they will go and change and make those adjustments to save not only your client's money, but to improve the production of those panels.
Fantastic. I love it. Any other thing you would want to add for your real estate buddies out there?
No, I would just encourage everybody to up their game, up their value, because now it's getting more competitive than ever. Right. And we owe it to our clients. Hey, if we're going to get paid this, whatever percentage, I think we owe it to our clients to do the due diligence, and do the work and provide them with as much value as possible.
Fantastic. All right. Well, I want to thank you for your time today, and I'm glad you're on our team for one, and you kind of help keep me abreast on the other side of your business as well. So
thanks
appreciate
so much.
you.
Thanks for having me.
All right, man.